Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Hit the Ropes Radio, episode 346. All up in your ear. We are on the other side of WWE Battleground, Smackdown's offering the last Smackdown pay-per-view before SummerSlam. And I kind of wish the WWE never let Battleground occur. What a snooze fest that was, ladies and gentlemen. It was boring. We are going to get to that. We're going to talk about Raw, SmackDown, Demetrius and myself. We'll even have Courtney call in later on. Courtney should be giving us some info on New Japan. He's become this sudden lover of the Japanese wrestling. States it's the best wrestling going right now. I can't disagree with that, but I don't watch it. And it's kind of hard for me to get into it on a consistent basis. So we'll get into that discussion as well. But the main focus tonight will be on the Battleground Fallout and, of course, the happenings Monday and Tuesday night in WWE. What is going on, Mr. D. Stokes?
Shane Howard, what's good, my brother?
Not a thing, not a thing. I am here like Jinder Mahal and the Great Khali. I am just here.
Of course, you had to throw in a gender.
Yeah, because it's you. You know.
Of course, you know. But you know what? I'm going to be positive today, on this episode of Hit the Ropes Radio. I'm just saying, maybe I'm too negative. I don't know. Let's get into it, man.
Wait, I think are you throwing a shot at the people? Somebody who said that we're like too negative?
No, not man. Come on, you know me better than that. Me, subliminal shots? Come on. No way, man. No way.
I mean,
I'm ready for a great show.
All right, so let's try to produce a better show than WWE Battleground. Did you?
That's not positive, Shane.
Hey, you said you were going to be positive. I didn't say that. I'm just saying the card. I called in last week. And we were talking about it, and I said it last week that it was just not a show that I was interested in watching, and the WWE proved my point exactly. It just was not appealing. Like, not even a Kevin Owens AJ Styles match. Not even that was great.
Yeah, and that was really a surprise, man. I was really shocked by that because if anything, you thought you were going to get a good match out of AJ and Kevin Owens, and even that was slow motion. They made up for it on SmackDown, which I'm sure we'll get into a little bit later. But even that match was slow motion. The only standout match on the Battleground card for me was, ironically, the first match, which was the tag team title match between the Usos and the New Day. Other than that, everything else was kind of just blah. I know you guys we were talking about this, in discussions, obviously prior to doing the show today. But I was actually surprised, even a little pleasantly surprised, by the return of the Great Khali. You guys were saying more so that it was a surprise, but not really one you were looking for or expecting.
Right, and he didn't even show up on Tuesday Night SmackDown. Unless I missed it, but it's kind of hard to miss Khali.
No, he didn't.
So, you make that grand return where apparently Jerry Lawler in an interview said that for the most part, the locker room didn't even know that Khali was there. He does this grand return to surprise everybody, help Jinder Mahal win, and he doesn't make any appearance whatsoever on SmackDown. So,
yeah, I think more so, I was questioning whether or not the Great Khali was actually returning to WWE television. I've read some things that say really this was more like a cosign. If anything else, it was like, okay, I'm returning for my countrymen to help him win this title in this match. This is more of a cosign than anything else. I helped him win, and now, you know, he goes back to being whatever he does for WWE, ambassador to India, whatever job he has. So I don't know that he's back for good. It probably made sense to a certain extent not to have him on SmackDown. Well, maybe not. I was going to say just to show Jinder kind of standing on his own, even though he needed help to win the match, but kind of the heel, him playing the real heel, like, hey, here I am standing on my own. Look at what I did by myself, even though he really had help on Sunday night. So.
Yep. Now, before we focus on what happened on SmackDown with Jinder Mahal, let's go back to Battleground and stick with that main event match. Now, we saw the grand return of the Great Khali. There was a huge bump taken by one of the Singh brothers, where he went crashing through the announce table. And I mean, other than that, did you care for the match?
You know, as I've alluded to several times on this show, I am not the biggest fan of Jinder Mahal. I'm not a huge Randy Orton fan either. So, no, to answer your question. You know, I'm actually glad that Jinder retained. That probably was the good thing that came out of it. Just because I would rather see him champion over Randy Orton. But other than that, you know, the Khali thing was a surprise, so at least it had that element. But outside of that, it was just okay for me.
A lot of things that I've read, the fans that were in attendance did not really care for the Punjabi prison setup, because they really did not get to see everything that was going on in the ring. Are you of the mind that you will be happy never seeing another Punjabi prison match?
If I don't see another one, it wouldn't be too soon. I'm not a big fan of the match. It was like, it's so many layers to it. So many layers to the whole structure. It's kind of crazy. So would I be mad if I saw another one? I don't know if I would be mad, but if I never saw one again, hey, I wouldn't be too mad about it either.
All right. My last point on the Punjabi prison match is I noticed something when Khali came out. Khali came out and started choking Randy Orton, held him captive as Jinder found his way to escape. But what I noticed while Khali was holding Orton there in that position and grabbing a hold of his neck, I noticed that Randy Orton could probably fit his whole body through the freaking squares in the Punjabi prison. So, you know, I just found that hilarious, and I'm just wondering, did no other superstar who's been in this match? Now, I know there have been some pretty big guys with Khali and like Batista and all of that, but did Randy Orton, not being this viper, this intelligent individual as he claims to be, not think, instead of climbing over the darn thing, can I just squeeze my body through these squares? Because it looked like Khali was going to accidentally pull him through the darn thing. I don't know. Did you happen to notice that yourself? Seems like we have some technical difficulty. I can't hear you, Stokes. I see your mouth talking. I can't hear it. Your lips are moving like Megan Trainor, but I don't hear a darn thing. All right, so I'm just gonna assume that Stokes is gonna agree with me because I say only intelligent and correct things. So yes, next time somebody's in that Punjabi prison match, put your damn body through the square and get the hell out. And let's not have that match be the main event again. It's pretty darn stupid. All right, Stokes said that the he felt that the best match of the night was the tag team match, and I agree with that. Which means that after that match, I didn't need to tune into the rest of the pay-per-view because everything went downhill from there. I was surprised to see a title change because, I felt that the Usos were doing such a good job as the tag team champions. It's not like the feud is over, but I was going to be more satisfied if the New Day had won the title at SummerSlam, which I think this feud will extend until. Smackdown last night, the New Day was coming out to celebrate and gyrate as they would normally do, and they were attacked by the Usos. So we're definitely going to see this match continue, this feud continue. No other tag team seem to be putting themselves in position to challenge for the tag team titles. So we'll probably get a standard 2-on-2 tag title match at SummerSlam. Hopefully it makes the main card because these two teams are two of the best currently in the WWE. Stokes, how we doing? Still not hearing you. Still not hearing you. Okay. Yes, Courtney McIntosh. I said Megan Trainor. Thank you for coming into the chat room. Don't question my top 40 knowledge. Let me go on that show, beat Shazam. I got this. All right. The ladies match, as Courtney brought up in the chat room. If you're not in the chat room, jump in the chat room. And if you're listening in the archives, next time we're live, jump in the chat room. It's usually it's a popping place. We've got some regulars who are always in his house. The women's match, I was pleasantly surprised that they actually went with Natalya. I had said that I thought Tamina would get the surprise. I felt there was going to be a surprise. I knew it wasn't going to be Charlotte. I knew it wasn't going to be Becky. I thought maybe Tamina, since they were kind of putting this kind of focus on Tamina and Lana. But I am happy to see Natalya win. She's been in the WWE for so many years. We were joking about it last week. And she's now the #1 contender. We see that she cut a promo last night. I'm going to agree with the guys over at ProWrestling.net who does the live review of the shows. I'm hoping that for the next whatever weeks we have until SummerSlam, that we're not just going to hear Natalya keep referring back to the Heart Dungeon and the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. There's got to be something else to Natalya other than the fact that her uncle is Bret Hart. I always find it funny that we just go right past her daddy, and it's just always my uncle, Bret the Hitman Hart. So that's good that Natalya is going to be challenging Naomi. I'm not sure what they're going to do with Charlotte and Becky Lynch at this point. They teamed up last night. I don't know if they keep them as a tag team for the time being. I know that at SummerSlam, being the big show that it is, they're going to put Charlotte on the card somewhere. I know we talked about Becky Lynch trying to get the MMA girl I don't know if maybe the WWE has a plan that Becky and Charlotte will tag up and wrestle maybe that MMA person. I'm not going to try to say the name because I don't know her name because I don't watch MMA like that. Um, but maybe they do something where they have that girl and an actual WWE women's wrestler and have Charlotte and Becky because those are two of the biggest names in the women's division in the WWE. You can't have some SummerSlam without them being on there. Shinsuke Nakamura and Baron Corbin. I knew that Corbin was gonna be boring, and that match on Sunday night was boring. And they had a better match. They had a better match last night, but I don't want to see these guys. I don't want to see them wrestle. No, I don't. Stop it. Go away. Stop it. Baron Corbin, I'm not even looking forward to when he cashes in this Money in the Bank contract that he has. I'm not looking forward to it. I'm glad that he lost. But I'm not looking forward to seeing him cash that in. I'm not looking forward to a Baron Corbin title reign. You know, I'm cool with Jinder. I'm not going to be cool with Baron Corbin. Not at all. My boy Ty Dillinger, he lost. I guess they're kind of doing something with Aiden English now, you know. Kind of happy for him, even though it came at the expense of Ty Dillinger. But Ty got a win back on Smackdown because he teamed up with Sami Zayn, who beat Mike Bennett Kanellis, if you want to call him that. I'm just not, you know, I'm just not sure what the WWE is doing with Mike and Maria right now. I put that tweet out earlier, and I just don't understand it. I really don't understand what they're doing with these guys. Well, this guy and his wife. The gimmick, I guess, is to make us hate them because they love each other so much. And then we're losing to Sami Zayn repeatedly. The same Sami Zayn who loses repeatedly. I just don't understand it whatsoever. To go back to what I was talking about with the ladies, because in the chat room we got Daniel Price, who says that he believes Becky is going to send Ellsworth off because his contract expires this year. I was wondering last night where James Ellsworth is. I know Carmella showed up to talk to Naomi, but while Carmella was there, I was like, where is her lackey James Ellsworth? So, you know, Daniel brought up something to give Becky to do, and he mentioned James Ellsworth. So I felt that I needed to bring that up. Mike and Maria are the reverse Miz and Maurice. They're still heels, but a different template. I guess the template is while the Miz and Maurice are #winning, dated Charlie Sheen reference. Yes, I know. While they are winning, Mike and Maria are losing. I just realized that both teams are M&M and not the Joey Mercury and what the hell is his name?
John Morrison.
There we go. Oh, hey, it's the chef.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you for that assist. And I thought that we had Mr. Darius Brown momentarily join us on the patio, set, but he seems to have either fell over the side or he cut out. All right. Thank you for tagging in, Mr. Stokes. Seems to not be on the ball with his technology tonight.
Yeah, and I think he's still trying to. Can you hear that?
Hear what?
Because I hear a lot of static going on.
I don't know. Static. Maybe I'm just meant to do the show by myself. I don't know. I have no idea. And
Okay,
apparently there's noise coming over the top of my sound. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I hear major static. All right, Shane, I can't hear you now. Like, I just totally have dead air right now. Still can't hear you, Shane. Hold on, I'm listening to the YouTube feed. Okay, so all right. So I still can't hear Mr. Howard. I think I'm going to step in for here. I see Stokes. Okay, Shane. Oh, is that Meech?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You sound very clear. So I think it was Shane's audio because Daniel said he hears me clearly, and I clearly hear you clearly. So clearly it was Shane's mic.
All right.
So since I'm driving the show right now,
oh God,
let's get to the New Japan segment of the show, shall we?
Wait a minute. No, we should not. We have not.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
All right, okay, where are we going with this, Maestro?
So Shane was giving a recap of Battleground, which I think was the worst show of the year. Like by far, it was the worst show of the year. He made reference, like, I only enjoyed 2 matches. I enjoyed Jinder Mahal retaining his belt. The Great Khali was a shock. But other than that, I only like the tag team match and the women's match. And to me, those were the only matches that are like worth talking about. So, where Shane left off about Daniel Bryan and where is James Ellsworth. Shane must have forgot James Ellsworth was suspended for 30 days. Darius has joined us on the patio.
That's right.
What up?
Yeah, that's right. Ellsworth was suspended for 30 days. Who else is he looking for?
I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
Shane is back.
Was that Shane or Darius?
That was Shane, I think.
Because I can't, I'm looking at Shane trying to talk and I can't hear him.
Yeah, yes. Shane, you got to use that plug. You got to put that plug in the hole. That's how it works. You put the plug in the hole. Well, I can't hear you, but I can see you flicking me off.
All right, so let's reel it back in. So we're talking about Shane and I started talking about Battleground. Mm-hmm. And I agree that the highlight of the show was probably the tag team title match, and it pretty much went downhill from there. The 2 shows, the weekly episodic shows, Raw and SmackDown, were both miles better than Battleground. Both shows were actually pretty good. Let's talk about some of what stood out on those two shows for you guys?
You want to take it first, Darius?
Don't all talk at once, guys.
Is this a podcast? Is that how this thing works? You know what? I don't think I had anything amazing come out of any of it, unfortunately. Shane rejoins the broadcast. So, you know, I unfortunately don't have anything great to say. I've got nothing. Maybe Courtney.
All right, so
is more.
So
insightful.
Monday Night Raw, right? We get what we kind of alluded to the previous week as the SummerSlam main event, the Fatal 4-Way match. Braun Strowman.
I'm pretty sure we alluded to this like 3 weeks ago.
Well, we didn't know. We thought Samoa Joe was going to be one off. I think we all were saying that.
Not I.
Well, most of us.
Right.
And I'm glad that he's not. So we're getting the Fatal 4-Way: Braun Strowman, Samoa Joe, Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar for the title. I think that's decent. What are you guys' thoughts on Bayley getting yet another opportunity at Alexa Bliss? I thought for sure that Sasha Banks might get the rub in this one, and she keeps getting the short end of the stick. What's up with WWE and Sasha Banks?
I think they're using it as a vehicle to turn Sasha heel. That's what I think is going on. But then it's kind of like right now WWE's roster doesn't have any balance. Like you have an overabundance of heels and not a lot of faces. Like, I mean, you really only have one babyface tag team, but it looks like they're trying to turn. They might be turning Anderson and Gallows face. They cut kind of a face-ish promo, but it's just another way to unbalance the roster, I think, and they're just going to use it as a vehicle to turn Sasha heel. And look, man, cocky heel, smarky Sasha is better than, you know, babyface play to the crowd Sasha, in my opinion.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit, because you make an interesting point. There does seem to be a overabundance of heels in WWE on both Raw and SmackDown, it seems. But then you hear certain people say that we're in an era of wrestling where there are no more faces and heels. You know, the good guys get booed, the bad guys get cheered. So what are some thoughts on that? Kind of going away from the traditional, you know, kind of how we've known wrestling to be over the years. It does put WWE in a precarious position, because sometimes they're unable to make some of the matches that, you know, we would like to see. But what are your thoughts on that? Are we in an era where there are no more faces and heels, or you know, should WWE keep with that tradition?
I would say that this is a broken record for me. I think there's no more faces, no more heels, because that's the way they've written it to be, and it's done so in a lazy way. Go to it's a TV show, right? So do we not have evil and versus good in every other episodic television show? Do we not still see it in movies? We see these things all the time. So, you know, I'm thinking, you know, this is, you know, a few years ago now, you know, we had Denzel Washington play a quote unquote heel in the movie Safe House with Ryan Reynolds. And everybody loved, who doesn't like Denzel Washington, you know? But if you can get to hate Denzel Washington, I'm pretty sure you can get to hate some of the characters if there was a storyline and a reason to hate. I mean, you go back to the 70s and 80s, part of the reason why that we had heels and such strong heels is because a lot of people, even though they knew it was real, they, you know, maybe this guy, I mean, they knew it was fake. Maybe this guy was really a bad guy. But let's take it to combat sports today. We have people who are really hated. There are a lot of people who really hate Daniel Cormier, who is fighting at 214 because he is overly good and portrays himself in this higher light. He got a lot of boos, even against somebody like John Jones, who has, struck a woman, has cheated on his wife, has, admitted to drugs, and they boo this man. So you can get booed in today's era if it's written correctly. I think that they just don't know what to go. They see that a crowd gets behind this guy in this city, and they're like, okay, well, maybe they like him, but they go to the next city. Okay, they don't, and they don't know where to go. They don't stick their flag in the ground and say, okay, this guy's a heel, and just go with it. They big show it. They turn it every week.
Well, I think it's kind of like what the NBA is going through in basketball. If you look at the NBA, they're looking at an era of positionless basketball, where you got to pretty much just, a bunch of guards, wings, and bigs, and that's it. And it's like there, a lot of tweeners, and the WWE right now has a lot of tweeners. As a matter of fact, it seems to be that the only guy on the roster that really goes out of his way to be a heel is Kevin Owens. Like you gotta look at Kevin Owens, like even what he does on social media, he does not break character. He, disses kids in the front row. He screams at fans. He was just, he at a show about 2 weeks ago, he was, I am not a good guy. That those were his words. So it seems to be like, in this reality era, because these guys are so accessible, it's really easy to not write a compelling character for them and kind of just like maybe let their persona try to take the wheel. But a lot of guys aren't skilled enough to do that. You have some like the New Day, whose characters are just their characters that they portray on TV are just a bigger version of who they are in real life. But I agree with you, Darius. A bunch of lazy writing. Because you got to look, the biggest babyface on the roster right now is Braun Strowman. I mean, and he, by old standards, isn't a face. He's a heel. Samoa Joe is probably the second biggest babyface on the roster, and he's a heel character. So I think the lines have become way too blurred, and the fact that the writing has become so lackluster, it just kind of like they just don't know what to do with these guys.
Braun Strowman is the biggest face. Braun Strowman is the biggest face.
Yes, he comes out and he gets the biggest pops. It comes across on TV that when his music hits, the crowd goes nuts, and that's what you do. You cheer the babyface, right? And he gets the biggest cheers.
I guess I have to pay more attention to that. I mean, I know he gets cheered because everybody likes his, the destructive character that he is, and they like the fact that he beats up. I think he gets cheered because he beats up Roman Reigns more than anything else.
I mean, that's probably true, but it's like something. Certain guys, their entrance music, lends to that too. Like, regardless of how much you hate John Cena, how much you boo John Cena, when you hear that beat knocking, you're going to hear people cheering. Just the same thing with Braun Strowman's roar. You hear that roar, people just go nuts.
It's a great segue. You talked about music and entrance music. Speaking of talking about somebody with a popular entrance music, what the heck is up with Nakamura and your boy, Courtney, your boy, boring Baron Corbin?
Okay, first of all, when you said entrance music, I thought you were going to talk about Big Cass having a generic WWE 2K16 entrance music. But I don't know, man. Look, I like Baron Corbin. And the reason why their match sucked on Sunday wasn't all Baron Corbin. Nakamura didn't look good in that match either, regardless of what the Nakamura stands will say. Get on. I'm doing a show. Golly. Sorry, I got a kid interrupting every week. But I lost my train of thought. Anyway,
we're talking about Nakamura and Baron Corbin.
I don't know, man. It's something about Shinsuke being on the main roster that just hasn't seen the click. And he's another guy that I don't think they're writing good. They're not. I don't think they're writing him good at all. So,
yeah, the whole artist thing, Darius. What are your thoughts on that? Because I don't know if it was you or it was Shane last week. Somebody said they should have just kept him the king of strong style, and then they went to this whole artist star known as Shinsuke Nakamura
and the rock WWE's rock star. I hate that.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that? Where are we missing the boat here? And I know you agree with me that Baron Corbin is boring Corbin. Probably next in line to be champ, unfortunately. But yeah, what's going on, man? I don't know. The match was terrible. It was very, very slow. Mm-hmm. Not great chemistry between the two. And then get this. Now we know next week Nakamura's fighting John Cena. That match has the potential to be a flipping train wreck. Now I know Cena is clutch in big matches. I just think their styles don't mesh, don't correlate. What are your thoughts on that, Darius?
Oh, sorry before Darius.
I would like to give Darius the floor here. He hasn't spoken in like 20 minutes.
I'm hogging. I'm sorry.
Yes.
As far as the match, I expect it to be good. You said it. He performs in big matches, and this his very first match against Nakamura. They're putting some advertising dollars behind it. They're letting us know it actually, ahead of time. So the WWE is trying to draw eyes to SmackDown. So I fully suspect it to be one of the better SmackDown matches if given the time we've seen in a long time. As for Nakamura, I just think that I'm concerned because they are using him to get Corbin over. Corbin already has the briefcase, and you can't just let him sit on the sideline since he's projected, as you said, to at least contend for the championship sometime within the next year. So you put him in a high-profile match, but Nakamura, he has that style that not everybody can work. And since I don't believe Baron Corbin's a great worker, this is not putting him in the best light. So do you immediately throw him again with AJ Styles? We've seen it before. So they're trying to mix and match with these new faces and you got to elevate your talent. If you indeed think Baron Corbin is not boring, this is a perfect on paper scenario, but it just doesn't pay out because I don't think he's there yet. He's still NXT level or below. So Nakamura, I don't care if you call him the rock star or the king of strongs. The artist, whatever his terms are, it doesn't really matter because he is all of those things. And I don't think it's a misrepresentation of branding. I just think he needs a better storyline to work with in Baron Corbin.
Ain't it? Did Darius freeze there? Oh, okay. There we go. Now, so wait a minute, Darius. You said NXT level or below. There's some guys. Well, most of them are on the main roster now. Well, see, there's some guys on NXT that are better than some of the guys on the main roster. Sure. Let's talk about a positive, something good that actually happened, because we are the purveyors of.
You're stressing this positivity thing.
Hey man, you got me because we've been negative the last couple of weeks.
No. We're going to be who we're going to be on Hit the Ropes Radio, whether people like it or not. But I'm going to be positive and talk about something good that happened, and that was the return of Chris Jericho. That was a positive. Can we all agree that happened this week? And the subsequent triple threat match that took place on SmackDown between AJ Styles, and Kevin Owens. Granted, it looks like it's probably going to lead to another AJ Styles Kevin Owens match, which wasn't great at Battleground, but they had an excellent match with Jericho on Tuesday night. What were your thoughts on that match?
Well, it was totally. First of all, Jericho's return was totally unexpected because usually when Jericho comes back, the cat's out of the bag. The room, everybody starts looking at Fozzie's tour schedule, and they, they see, oh, he gets off tour so then he'll be back this time. You heard no noise about Jericho coming back, and when his music hit, I was legitimately pumped. It was a hell of a match on SmackDown, that triple threat. They brought him back. I don't necessarily want to. I think out of everybody on SmackDown, Kevin Owens might have been the worst beneficiary of the brand split because you basically sent him to SmackDown to feud with everybody he was feuding with on Raw, and now he's just kind of U.S. champ. Okay. Feuding with is he on because it's gonna I just have this fear that it's gonna turn into like a Miz Ambrose situation where they've been feuding since like November or something like that, and I don't want to see Owens AJ Styles continue to feud that long when you got look, man, put him in a feud with Chad Gable. They had a good match a couple weeks ago, elevate the young fella, and they'll still put on. I think those two can put on a stellar match. So, hey, man, got to do something different with Owens and give AJ some new competition, too.
I don't think that we're going to see AJ Owens continue for that much longer. Owens is calling for his obligatory rematch, but I'm pretty sure that we might see, depending on how long Jericho hangs around, we're probably going to see Jericho interfere, and we'll probably go back to an Owens-Jericho feud, which is, going to be slightly fresh because Jericho took off, X amount of months to do the Fozzy thing. I'm thinking that with Cena versus Nakamura next week, where the winner goes on to face Jinder Mahal at SummerSlam, they'll probably have it where Cena wins and Nakamura ends up going against AJ Styles somehow, some way. They've been teasing these two, and as Darius was pointing out, Nakamura has a certain style that everybody doesn't work well with, but AJ is one of those guys who works supremely well with the King of Strong Style. So that's what I'm hoping is the plan for SummerSlam, because being the biggest show of the summer, you're gonna want to see a matchup where people were talking about that took place in Japan, where AJ and Nakamura tore the house down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I agree. I think it's over with AJ and Kevin Owens after SmackDown next week, where Owens gets his rematch. And then could we see AJ Styles and Nakamura? That's intriguing. I do agree with Shane. I think Cena's going to win that match with Nakamura. I wouldn't be surprised if Baron Corbin cost him in some way, and Cena ends up winning the match and going on to face Jinder. But yeah, so we'll see. Darius, you got any thoughts?
No, you guys pretty much covered exactly what I was thinking. So,
all right. Well,
am I the only one that doesn't want to see Cena versus Jinder for fear that they're gonna do the super patriotic thing and have Jinder be the evil foreigner and John Cena Mr. Patriot? I don't want to see that.
Where have you been the last 2 months? Isn't that what Jinder Mahal has been doing all along?
Well, no, yeah. I'm saying, but Randy Orton wasn't like Mr. Patriot. Cena is like, oh, my country, the flag, yeah, America, yeah.
Well, Randy's also the guy that he went AWOL from the military. So
yes,
so he's probably not going to be as patriotic as say one John Cena. So, well, this is the time of the show that we have designated for one Courtney McIntosh. This is also the time of the show where I've decided to leave.
You cannot leave.
This is a segment that
way to put him over, Stokes.
Yeah,
I know, man. Way to bury me, John Cena.
You know, what can I say? That's what I'm here to do. But this is a segment of the show we are calling Max Minute, where he's going to share some thoughts on one New Japan Pro Wrestling. All of a sudden, this guy's become a guru on it, apparently. He's been to Japan. He's toured Japan for several weeks. And now he's coming back with this live report. So, Courtney, take it away.
Article's not here yet.
Okay, yeah. Well, all right.
Hold on. We got to set this right. We got to set the stage right because you've been talking about this for so long. We got to set the stage right. You know, Stokes did not put you over well. You know, your minute got to have a sponsor. So, Max Minute is brought to you by In the Black Podcast. Please check out In the Black Podcast. You know, shout out to them for shouting us out and showing us some love. You can listen to their podcast on SoundCloud. Look for them on Facebook, In the Black, you know, for all conversations about our Black world. You know, they recently had their latest show talked about O.J. Simpson's release from getting, you know, the parole granted. He hasn't been actually released from prison yet, but you can listen to their show on SoundCloud. So Max Minute is brought to you by In the Black Podcast. Go for it, Mac.
All right, so guys, I want to talk to you guys tonight about New Japan Pro Wrestling. So I watched my first ever New Japan show a couple weeks ago. You guys saw it, their Long Beach show. You know, the first show in the United States. So I watched that. I was thoroughly impressed. So since then, I've been trying to learn everything I can about New Japan. You know, so. Thank you for that intro, Shane. So right now, I mean, and these guys, to me, right now, New Japan is putting on the best wrestling matches in the world. So right now, New Japan has their G1 Climax tournament going on. It's a yearly round robin tournament. This is number 27, held each August. So what they do is they have a tournament and they score the points like in soccer. So you get 2 points for a win, 1 point for a draw, because they still believe in draws in Japan, and no points for a loss. You know. So right now in Block A, you got the lead. So I've been watching a couple of these matches. Before I get to the standings, I've been watching a couple of the matches. Thoroughly surprised by one match in particular, and that was Tama Tonga of the Bullet Club versus Kenny Omega of the Bullet Club. And little did I know there had been some tension leading up to this match because, you know, Omega, the Young Bucks, Cody, they have a little splinter of the Bullet Club that they call themselves the Elite. And Tama Tonga's his angle is, hey, if you're Bullet Club, you're Bullet Club. You know, not the Elite. If you're Bullet Club, you're Bullet Club. So during introductions, you know, they came out together. So during introductions, Tonga was introduced first. And then they went to introduce Kenny Omega, and Tama Tonga just attacked him, you know, out of nowhere. And it was a very good match. Very good match. Tama Tonga is a pretty underrated wrestler in my book. For those who don't know, he is the son of Ming. But yeah, so let me get to this. They be having some good matches. I think they have, you know, two of the top guys in the world, and Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada, their champ. So I'm going to give you guys the standings for the G1 tournament. So you got two blocks. You got Block A that has a certain amount of wrestlers, and you got Block B with the same amount of wrestlers, all right? So the Block A standings as today. Oh, so you can start watching, I believe, they were streaming it live on YouTube this morning. It was at 5:30 a.m. this morning.
Because
is that Central Time?
Because we're going to be up at 5:30 a.m. watching wrestling. Like,
is that Central Time?
No, that's Eastern Time. Okay. I actually was up that early because I have to get up that early when I go to work.
Cook so hard, I know.
So,
right.
You know, so here are the standings as of today. So with 4 points in Block A, you have Bad Luck Fale of the Bullet Club. He has 4 points. He's 2-1. You have Hiroki Goto, 2-0. You have Hiroshi Tanahashi, who's very good in the ring. You guys should see him. 4 points. Kota Ibushi, another guy who's stellar in the ring. 4 points. Tatsuya Naito. Oh my goodness, this dude is amazing. This dude is amazing. His character, he probably has the best character in all of New Japan. You know,
I don't know if you recall this, sir. Sorry to cut you off. I don't know if you recall this, but when we were doing our Ropies last year, I did call for a possible write-in for Naito for Wrestler of the Year.
Yes, you did. And I mean, this dude is
I don't remember that.
He's stellar. But anyway. So, all right. So, and also with 4 points in Block A, you have Zack Sabre Jr. I don't know if you guys know who Zack Sabre Jr. is. He's the British champ. He's a submission expert. I've never seen, you know, they used to call, you know, they call Joe the Samoan submission machine. They call Chris Benoit, you know, I mean, not Chris Benoit, but Dean Malenko, the master of 1,000.
Say his name on this show.
Zack Sabre Jr. uses like submissions I've never seen before, like submissions that aren't even on the video game.
He was in the Cruiserweight Classic.
Yeah,
yes, he was in the Cruiserweight Classic. Okay,
super
anyway,
cheesy.
Well, whatever. So, also, with 2 points in Block A, you have Togi Makabe, Tomohiro Ishii, who's good also, and you have Yoshihashi. And then bringing up the rear in Block A, you have Yuji Nagata with 0 points. So in Block B is the block with the heavy hitters. You know, with 4 points, you got Okada and Omega. They're the only two in Block B with 4 points. With 2 points, you got Evil. You got Juice Robinson, I forgot his name in NXT, but he was the like wacky guy who was like save the earth, holding all those signs and stuff with the dreadlocks and all that. I don't remember what his name was in WWE, but he's Juice Robinson on the Indies and in New Japan. Then you have Minoru Suzuki with 2 points. You have Sonata with 2 points. Tamatanga and Toru Yano with 2 points also. And then with 0 points, surprisingly, Michael Elgin has 0 points. He hasn't won a match yet in the G1 tournament. And
former HTR guest, somebody you actually named that I know who he is.
Yes,
that's because he hasn't been on HTR in a while. If he came back on, he'd probably win the damn thing.
That HTR rub, baby.
Hey, you know, I don't know if you guys saw any highlights from Elgin's match against
No,
we did not. We just told you that, man.
Man, you guys suck, okay? You guys suck.
This is Max minute. This isn't
emphasis on the minute.
Yes. And emphasis on Max too.
Okay.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead, finish it.
So that is the G1 climax is going on right now. New Japan World is New Japan subscription service. It works on iOS, Android. It's $9 a month. I signed up for it, but I can't tell the wife.
Wait till I tell her.
So, you know, it's pretty cool. I watched I watched a couple matches. They actually have free matches on the website and on their YouTube channel. So, but yeah, y'all should check out the Elgin and Kenny Omega match. That match was fire. That is probably my early candidate for match of the year.
All right.
Well, actually, no. I'm sorry. I told you guys. I'm lying. I told you guys like a couple weeks ago that Omega Okada 1 was the best match I've ever seen, and I'm sticking to that. So,
all right.
There's Max Minute, brought to you by In the Black Podcast and thevc.com.
Max Minute plus 9 other minutes.
Mac took all the minutes.
And now the show is over.
Question, Courtney McIntosh.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, putting your government out there, but at least your name is not Lucky Whitehead.
Yep.
Question, sir. Now, we've been talking, and you've been praising this New Japan Pro Wrestling. And I am not against New Japan Pro Wrestling because I think out of the 4 of us, I have watched the most New Japan Pro Wrestling. I My question to you is, you know, what makes this, like, if this is so great, that's where I should go. If this is so great, why isn't more people watching it? As your homeboy Demetrius has pondered.
Okay.
Why aren't more people watching this? Because you've been giving this thing so much love, and you're saying that all the other stuff we're talking about is not, you know, relevant and all this other stuff. Why aren't we hearing more people crying from the rooftops for New Japan Pro Wrestling
simply
be on their airways?
Simply put, Darius, I believe that, you know, a lot of people aren't, you know, knowledgeable. You know, they're not that knowledgeable about it, and it is on TV. People are like, "Oh, I can't see New Japan." If you got AT&T for cable, if you got Comcast, it's on the Access Network. Stokes is shaking his head because he has whack DirecTV and probably doesn't have it.
What if you got
actually I have
PlayStation
PlayStation View now? I got PlayStation View, baby. I moved on. My budget is not one for DirecTV anymore. My bad.
But they come, you know, it comes on Fridays on the Access Network at like 9:00. The American feed is Jim Ross and Josh Barnett, and they don't do a good job. The American feed for New Japan World is Kevin Kelly and Don Callis, and they do a great job. I actually, you know, it reminded me of like old school Vince McMahon and Jesse Ventura when I was listening to some of the matches they were calling. But I just think because, you know, it's in Japan and people, you know, it comes on basically when people are asleep. So, I mean, they got good wrestlers. We've seen their wrestlers come over here before. We've seen guys from Dragon Gate and Pro Wrestling Noah come over here before. So, you know.
But isn't it akin to like the ROH love where people say, you know, the best thing on TV right now is ROH and, you know, the best wrestling is ROH, but, you know, you just have that small group of fans who are, you know, vocal about it. You know, is it not like that?
Well, yeah, in a way it is, but I also think it's because WWE has been king for so long, and wrestling fans over here only know a lot of wrestling fans over here only know WWE. So they see WWE and they think that's wrestling, where you have the wrestling purists, like I kind of liken myself to be.
They Lord, after 2-3 weeks?
Whatever. I just like good wrestling matches. You know what I'm saying? I don't really have to care. I don't really have to have a stellar storyline and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, it's cool to have a good storyline, but at the end of the day, I'm a wrestling fan. I mean, and I want to see good wrestling. Yeah, I know it's a scripted, like, you know, performance art, like a TV show, but, you know, I like wrestling. You know, so that's why I've gravitated towards New Japan, and I don't get ROH on my TV anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you got Stokes yawning over there.
Oh, I didn't know anybody saw that. I thought the camera was off. I'm sorry. My bad, man. My bad. Sorry. But Daniel in the chat room is a connoisseur of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Courtney, you have a brother in that.
Yes, we know good wrestling.
He says the American wrestling audience has been dumbed down and have short attention spans. We have become a reality TV based society, and we support the way WWE books their shows. And you know what, Daniel? You're absolutely right.
I was gonna agree.
You're absolutely correct. I have no argument with that. He's so right.
Because look, like, you know, we can say like, look, okay, let's not act like guys from WWE wrestlers don't put on great matches. They put on, you know, a lot of those guys put on stellar matches. But what I'm saying is, in the WWE format, AJ Styles is never going to have a match as good as he had in TNA or New Japan. That's just my thoughts.
TNA?
That's just my thoughts. Yeah, AJ Styles had good. Hey, first of all, don't act like you and I wasn't at Slammiversary, like fangirling out over TNA, bro. Don't act like no.
Well, first of all, Dixie Carter gave us like front row seats, so I was absolutely all on board with that. Thank you, Hit the Ropes Radio media credentials and connections. But I don't even remember AJ in that show. The person that I remember is Samoa Joe.
Because he walked right past us.
Well, he won the match too, or he helped Kurt Angle win the match. I don't remember, but it was a ladder match. It was like a 7-way ladder. It was way too many dudes in a ladder match for the TNA World Championship, and I think Joe or Kurt Angle won, one of the two.
Yeah, and Jim Cornette came out and was bashing a lot of guys from New Japan and Kenny Omega specifically, and because they have gimmick matches just like WWE has gimmick matches. It just so happens that the main two matches that Cornette was harping on was there is a blow up doll that is actually a wrestler, and I'm using air quotes. Is actually a wrestler in New Japan, and they have matches with this guy. With this thing, but to me, in that environment, it actually it shines a spotlight on how athletic and how good the wrestlers actually are, because they're basically wrestling a blow up doll and making it look good. They're making the moves look crisp. Now, a lot of people were upset again because Kenny Omega was in a match this morning against, I can't remember who he was wrestling, but they were wrestling basically with their feet tied together. And, it was a bunch of guys on Twitter crying about it. Oh man, I can't believe that. Blah, 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 blah. So, but but these same guys don't cry about Vince and the myriad of WWE gimmick matches. So I mean,
well,
I'm just sitting back enjoying the product.
I disagree. I think there are many criticisms of WWE's product. It's just WWE doesn't care. Apparently, New Japan does not either, which is why they have matches where dudes are tied up by the ankles or whatever, what have you. But yeah, so thanks, Mac, for the Mac Minute, the recap of New Japan Pro Wrestling. I'm not really thanking you, but Daniel's thanking you because he loves New Japan Pro Wrestling. Shout out to Daniel in the chat room. Thanks to everybody who's listened to this episode number 346 of the Hit the Ropes radio show. Darius and Shade have apparently left us, so I'm stuck here with Courtney, but actually we're just about running out of time. Thanks, everybody, for listening to the show tonight. We kind of were a little potpourri tonight. We're a little all over the place. We covered Battleground. We talked Smackdown. We talked Raw. We had some technical difficulties. We talked New Japan Pro Wrestling, and we thank those that stuck it out with us. Be sure to tune in next week. Of course, we'll be here 9 p.m. sharp on YouTube Live. Of course, those that maybe like to listen to podcasts, you can check us out on the VSEY.com. That's VESEY.com. The podcast will be up a little bit later. Courtney, before we sign off for the evening, do you have any final thoughts?
Support real wrestlers.
Support real wrestlers.
No, I'm just saying. So no, I don't have anything else. Just thanks everybody for tuning in. Show us some love. Likes. Give us that 5-star rating on iTunes. Share us with your friends that like wrestling. So that's all I got.
All right. Well, I want to thank you guys once again for listening. For Young McIntosh, this is Stokes. See you guys next week. Thanks so much for listening. Peace.
Peace.